Jim Winston here at DB Fine Wines in New Canaan, and we are looking at Thanksgiving wines. And there is no doubt that Thanksgiving is the biggest wine day of the year, and there isn't even a second place. There is such an amazing amount of food on the table and the diversity of foods. There's turkey, there's gravy, there's different types of stuffings, candied yams, garlic mashed potatoes, creamed onions, green bean casserole, goes on and on and on. And there's always something else that comes from our particular heritage. Perhaps it's a country or an interest or an area of the country, or maybe, just maybe, you are Italian, or maybe you're married into it, or maybe you're just lucky enough to be able to go over to someone's house who is Italian. And I can speak from experience. My brother married into an Italian family, and when it came time to join families for Thanksgiving, it was amazing. And it starts with an antipasto, this wonderful artichoke that had been braised in garlic and oil, sinful, and then the gravy with the meatballs and sausages, and then the pasta, and then the turkey comes out. It was just, as close as you can get to having dinner at Hampton Court during the time of Henry VIII. It was just this amazing array of foods, and there is no one wine that works. That's the point. No one wine that works. Now, my approach for years for Thanksgiving sort of divides it down into sort of like segments. There's a hospitality wine that you serve at the start when people come. Before you actually sit down, you're watching the game. Then you have informal red, as something like maybe a Beaujolais would work. Or then you would then have a very, very special showpiece wine, which for me would be red Burgundy or Pinot Noir. A showpiece white wine, which would be, again, white Burgundy this time, or Chardonnay. And then a pungent white wine, which would be Riesling or Gewürztraminer. And then maybe another white wine, and then a dessert wine. So there you have this amazing this diversity, variety of wines to match all the various foods and tastes and savories and cranberry sauce and everything else that goes onto that table. So we'll begin. This is Sangue di Giuda. It is a wine from Lombardy, and it has a light bubble. It has the alcohol content of about a beer, 5 degrees, and it's slightly sweet. Not only is it fun to enjoy on its own merit, it's a great wine to have on hand for Fred and Naomi. And who is that? Fred and Naomi are these people, their relations, older aunts, uncles, whatever. But they come in and they really don't like wine, and they don't like booze or anything. And they are going to be your biggest problem, because what they're going to do is want to take your favorite red wine and add ginger ale and ice to it to make it more acceptable. Well, here it is. You can serve this to Fred and Naomi and they will kiss your toes. It's a great wine. Now, in terms of the informal reds, these wines can be served chilled, and each of the wines I'm showing you here are not only good chilled, but they're good on their own merit, just to have, again, before you actually sit down. But it would certainly transition well to the table. Charmeur Rosé, Chateau Saint Croix from Provence. This wine is really, really interesting. 100%. The wine is a blend of Gamay and Pinot Noir, and I love the wine. I presented the wine at a Bastille Day tasting, and I think the wine is just terrific. It's medium-bodied, it's lighter, it's easy to drink, no hard edges. This wine, I just learned about, just tasted it. I hosted a tasting on wines from Spain, and the wine blew me away. It's a wine from La Mancha. It's Lunera from excuse me, from Dehesa de Luna, and it is a blend of Syrah and Tempranillo. And I thought the wine was so great, I said, oh my gosh, this is going into my Thanksgiving lineup. We then move into the showpiece reds. The showpiece reds are Pinot Noir, and I have an example here both from Sonoma and also from the Côte de Beaune Burgundy. This is Vista. It comes from a single vineyard. It's a reserve from Petaluma's Gap. And the wine is wonderful, wonderful layering, and that's coming from a person who prefers actually red Burgundy. This is a new wine, new domain for me, and it's Pommard. Pommard is the northernmost portion of the Côte de Beaune, just below where we go into the the larger scaled Pinot Noirs from the Côte de Nuits. And this is Domaine Vaudoise, and it is a smaller domain, a type of wine that I love to enjoy all year round, to be honest. And so there you have the showpiece reds. We're gonna hop over here to the showpiece whites. Again, I'm looking for either Chardonnay or I'm looking for white Burgundy. And this is interesting. This is a Chardonnay from Tuscany. I can't resist putting this type of a wine into the flight. It is a bolder style, but still something that shows the old world idea of balance and restraint, complexity without it being overly done. Next, this is a wonderful Cabernet Riesling Bad Stube, Bernkastel, and I love this style of wine. Pungent, fresh. It is absolutely essential for the table. Particularly, for example, if you do a spiral cut ham, you're going to thank me that this wine is included. Here, 3 wines. These are the others. And what I look for when I say others is just something that strikes me that would still be in balance for the foods. I don't want something so big and heavy, but I want different flavors, different textures. And to me, here we have 3 very, very different wines. Each one, I think, would do very, very well. This is from Trentadue. It's L'Astoria. It's a Merlot. The wine is just terrific. I love the texture of this wine. Wonderful scent. This is a wine from Tuscany. It's a Vino Noble. It is a Sangiovese based wine. And what can you say? Tuscan wines and food, they go together like this. It's like you can't make a mistake. They go so well in concert with food. And this happens to be a wonderful expression, Lunadero, and I've done this wine at tastings as well. I know it left, right, and every which way. The wine is outstanding. This is a new wine. I've just had this wine at a tasting that focused on Australia. It's one of my favorite estates from southeastern Australia, McLaren Vale, and the producer is Darrenberg, and they make some outstanding wine. Very, very tough to get a hold of, not made in great quantity. But in this case, the wine is their opening range Shiraz, and it's called Footbolt. And the wine is a slam dunk winning wine. Leaves us 2 wines else here. This is the new kid on the block, and it is from an area in the Loire Valley called Muscadet, and this is Chapeau Melon. And it is a blend of 2 grapes, Sauvignon Blanc, and then Bourgogne de Melon, which is the core grape that goes into Muscadet. Fresh, lighter style, perfect aperitif, but again would transition beautifully well into the foods that are on the table. And then last, another wine that is new for us. It's a wine from Hungary, and this is Katinka Tokaj, 2015. Before there was Sauterne, and everyone went gaga how great Sauterne is, and it is, the wine of the courts of Europe were drinking Hungarian Tokaj. This was the premier wine of Europe on the dessert scale, and this wine is a fabulous departure from what I would normally be looking at, which would be Sauterne or would be late harvest Riesling, but this just became available and jumped on it to add it to the Thanksgiving offering. So here we are. You have all these wines here, and how do you manage it? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. What you do is you put down in front of everyone a red glass and a white glass, just like this. And then what you do is you start by pouring yourself a small amount. This is what's key, folks. Pour yourself a small amount. And then you say to everyone sitting at the table, I'm not charging you by the glass tonight. And why are you doing this? Because you want the opportunity to pour wines into the glass and to try the different wines that you're presenting. You want to be able to say, oh, this would be perfect for the stuffing. And then you try another little bit of wine with it, a different wine. And then you switch back to something else. Could you please pass me the Merlot? I want to try that. And then you go back and forth and trying the different wines with the different foods. It doesn't get any better. And if you are pouring small amounts, you can do this without getting completely blasted. And that's part of the enjoyment, is how do we maximize the enjoyment and still stay upright and sane. And so if you pour small amounts, you give yourself a chance to try different things. I'll give you this, like this wine. Okay, this wine with pumpkin pie will absolutely blow you away. Or bread pudding, or apple pie with a wedge of cheddar cheese. No. If you do that, try the Merlot with the apple pie with cheddar cheese. You get the idea. It can all be done. So remember, no one wine works. Well, there's always champagne. Thank you very much. Have a great holiday.